obsessed. Even Walt agrees. He was like, "Come here, let me show you something." He led me down the park until we finally made it to the Kyoto garden, which still looks really good even on this chopped camera. I took a few pictures and they looked cooked. Way too contrasty and over sharpened. But then I realized I can take raw photos in 50 megapixels, which gives you a 130 megabyte file. That is crazy. That is like 100 times more than a normal photo. So just before I crossed the bridge, I decided to take a picture of the waterfall in 50 megapixels. And after editing it, that looks good. I'll take the credit for the edit, but wow, RAW just saves this camera from all the crappy processing. And this picture is so much better than the one on Google Maps. I would just avoid the ultra-wide camera because that only records in 1080p and it looks like dog breath. They literally found the sensor in the bin. They put it on the phone and they were like, yep, look, dual camera, just like the iPhone. Consider this, I spent like 2 hours in the sun, max brightness, taking photos and videos, playing with Snowball, listening to music, scrolling on the train for like an hour, and I came home to 70%. That is, I don't even have a word. That is like the best battery I've ever tested. My S25 Ultra would have been crawling on its kneecaps by the end of that day. It's crazy to think that we're getting 8500 milliamp hour battery on a phone that's the same size and weight and thickness as an S25 Ultra. And if the phone runs out of battery in your entire lifespan, you can charge it back with 100 watts, which you're not gonna do because you don't have a fast charger, which they don't give you, and you're not gonna buy it. So hypothetically, it's just good to know. But they didn't stop there because the Dimensity 9500S is basically around the same level as last year's Snapdragon 8 Elite, which I don't even understand how that's possible. They are suddenly putting flagship level processors in mid-range phones. This absolutely cripples the Pixel 10 in Antutu. Not like it matters, but I tried downloading a PC game emulator like Game Native and Game Hub, and I don't have the footage for this, but Witcher 3 wouldn't even load. And then I tried a bunch of other games and they were just stuck on a black screen. I suspect that it's something to do with the drivers, so if you're into emulation, you're probably going to be better off with a Snapdragon. So yeah, on paper, this is like too good to be true. The specs are basically maxed out. The battery is unlimited. The screen is insane. Even the bezels, look how thin they are. It even has an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, so instant. Didn't even focus. It gets uncomfortably close to a flagship, and for a lot of people, this would be perfect. However, there's a reason why this is not a flagship, and I'm gonna start nitpicking, so don't be like, oh, but this is a mid-range. The camera sucks balls, okay? I get that this is a performance-focused phone, and the cameras are just basically a side quest. They're not even important at this point. But that's basically the main thing that feels extremely unbalanced on this phone. Why bother with log when it's still over sharpened? Why even put an ultra wide when it's borderline useless? The software is a little cluttered. Like, why is there AI in my widgets? And if you like camera as well, for a little bit more money, they have just the right phone for you. So because this phone is unbalanced, I wouldn't buy this for my grandma, even if she was still alive. If I was a gamer, I would just buy the Red Magic 11 Pro. And if I needed a decent camera, I would just buy a Pixel. So despite this phone being overpowered, I probably wouldn't buy this unless it was just for the battery. But I guess I'll see you in the next video. Hey look, I've got an outro for once. People keep complaining that the video